All right, I'm back. I'm hoping that the first videos upload okay because I'm to the first video. Sorry about that. Basically, by the way, today is the 22nd of March, 2019. So this is the second part, and this is really what my idea I was getting at because I noticed this, and I noticed this is like a thing. So basically, you know, your lower self. Imagine yourself. Like your lower self is like what separates you from like your karma and your head spirit. So it's like if you uh attangle more to your lower self, you're a more like indulgent person. But if you master the lower self, you can actually enjoy yourself and not destroy yourself. So if you master the lower self, you can like enjoy yourself but not destroy yourself. So as a result of the type of resonance or the type of like yeah, like resonance is a good word. The type of communication and like basically I lost the word real quick. Like if once you get into the habit of like saying, doing what I told you when I talked about in the first video, you can find yourself being more of a chill ass person, more of a realistic person, and you healed from a lot of shit you went through probably in your I don't know what I was gonna say past life, but it can mean that too. But more importantly, in your childhood. So, or just when you're adolescent stages, teenage years, whatever the fuck you dealt with. So now what happens now, right? Is like if you was to now, cause like I was talking about in the first video, you can't control your emotions, man. You gotta rule it. You gotta rule over them. And that takes a lot of like, a lot of things. But basically, say if you was to like imagine your emotions, right? Because emotions are natural, most emotions. The real problem is that we easily emotional, highly emotional, and we subjectify ourselves to many emotions. That's what's a problem. So, and imagine like basic emotions, right? That I just finished stating. Imagine that those are like places that you go to, and you got to feel comfortable in that place that you go to. So you have to own the territory of them umbrella emotions. And as a result, and this is what made me start recording a video, I noticed something that as a result of owning the territory of the umbrella emotions, when it comes to your direct spirit, or I think is also called head spirit, when you become more calm and you become more serene, you can actually have a point in your life, and I'm explaining the science of this from my perspective, where your emotions don't phase you. When emotions is really like radar system, right? So unless you a dramatic ass motherfucker or you down with complete theatrics and you out there acting like this is a drama play, you're not gonna really be subjectified to many emotions. So now check this out. And what I didn't want to say this because I don't want to because I'm somebody that feels like this. I don't want to really necessarily make it like I'm better than everybody, but I personally do believe that I'm ahead. But I'm not trying to say because I'm all dealing with the same like I deal with the same type of tragedies. I'm all human. We all human. But I'm saying like this is part of human evolution. What I'm getting at, and I didn't want to say that early in the first video. So once again, own the territories that is of those emotions. So that's why instead of saying anger, I said like passion. Because if I'm angry over something that I can't control, or if I'm angry over something that is just a product of my imagination, I'm my own problem. You understand me? And do you overstand me? So now the point I'm making right now is this is the next stage. As a result of doing that, you get to a point in your life where you're very meditative. You know those people that sometimes they like considered masters. Things don't get to them. Like you just don't feel emotions. And I'm explaining an aspect of why and how this actually leads to actual ascension. And this is like the stage before actual ascension. When you get to a point that, you know, something like would bother you, or something like, uh basically your emotions now, your lower self is kind of able to exist on its own. Your lower self is able to be like a dog for you. And your lower self is like you with your higher spirit. Your lower self admires you. Your lower self is not going to attack you and what you care for in your life. And that takes more than just the emotional aspect of what I'm talking about. That takes a lot of, you know, a lot of deep analysis mentally from a person to do to themselves in the mirror. But basically, the point I'm saying is like, this is what can happen. So, because your lower self is in theory able to exist on its own and have its own conscious space and just protect you like that, it becomes like a reflex. You know, like when you work on your muscle memory, this is all still muscle memory too. It's like the same concept. So now that same concept of muscle memory that we have, that aspect goes into that, and you're basically your lower energy, your lower self can handle things for you. There was times that I'll get emotionally bothered by logical reasons, but I wouldn't want to be emotionally bothered, especially having the crab sign, especially being, I don't want those emotions. I don't want to be an emotional sensitive ass motherfucker. I don't want that shit. So when I feel emotions, my immediate focus is how do I get out this emotion. So like as a result of that and knowing the practices and having prayers and all that stuff, basically I was able to master to come out of that. So it's really like if you do get an emotion sent to you, it's really kind of more of letting you know something. Well, for me, and I'll make a decision because we all exist on the mental plane too, as a collective, just like how we here together as a collective. So I make a decision, and it's almost like the vibrative aspect that's of the lower can handle that for you, and to make sure that you're good. And this is a way to connect to your spiritual abilities. But don't think that you can do this and win over people because that's also an emotional concept. Don't think you can do this and be more like a colonizer and be more territorial and be more destructive to people and even yourself because that's emotional too. It started from an emotional seed wave. You're just still an emotional person. You're just more calm in your emotions, how you go about it. It's about being pulled away from the whole overly emotional concept in the first place. And this is what happens as a result of that mastery that I noticed and that made me want to talk about this. Right? I'm gonna record another video later. Hotep.